provided financial assistance for thousands of Jamaicans who went through a hard time during COVID. How can you replace a government like that? Not only that the government give you through COVID, there have been tax returns for Jamaicans. Benefits that the Jamaican people, out of your hard work, sweat and dedication to build a strong economy under Andrew Holness and the Jamaican Labour Party, your government has been able to give back to you. How can you replace a government with one whose only track record of social program for the poor and destitute was to take up street people, put them in a dumper truck and carry them to St. Elizabeth, but dump them in a money? How can you replace a government? When I became a councillor at the KSAC in 1977, I became a councillor in 1977. Local government had something that was called Indigent Housing Program. And the Indigent Program was where you get a little money to build up a little house. You get the material, or the poor relief department would build you a nice little board house. Nobody not knocking board house. Because 9 out of every 10 Jamaicans grew up living in a board house. So there's nothing wrong about it. But fast forward to today, when a government has a good economy, it can take care of the less fortunate. And knowing what I experienced as a councillor, because I've been a councillor for more than almost 40 years. So when I speak about local government and the poor, there's nobody in Jamaica that can argue with me when it comes down to local government. Yeah. And what we did, when I went to the Prime Minister about the indigent housing, and I explained to him what I wanted to do. So go ahead. And from 2016 until today, and a couple have been built in Westmoreland, in Western Westmoreland and right across the parish. The Jamaica Labour Party government built concrete, indigent housing for the poor and the destitute. We build studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. We not only build the houses, there has been no government in Jamaica that has built houses and furnished it and put poor people in it. And what the PNP did, they tried to discredit the program because there are 2 social housing programs. One social housing program under the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. You need to know these things when you hear them. You must tell them, say, back down, a lie, I don't know wicked. Bloodful, bloodful. The Prime Minister Social Housing Program build houses for people in need. The indigent housing program run by local government are for persons who have been investigated and registered with the Poor Relief Department. And the wicked, corrupt, bad mind, chatty mouth, PNP want to discredit the program, talk about we are belows, to take back people's from people. Lie them and tell. But what I'm saying to you tonight, what I'm saying to you, I don't want you to listen, because it's somehow we same labor right, spread the propaganda, because PNP will put out something and send it to your phone, and you take it and you forward it. Will mash up. How many of you in this room know that during COVID, Jamaican who work in the public service, who call themselves civil servant, lost their job? Not one. The government of Andrew Holness and the Jamaican Labour Party, all those who weren't performing, kept their jobs during COVID. And those who work in the private sector, I know where Andrew Holness born. I know where Andrew Holness. I know where Andrew Holness commitment is. I don't know the others' commitment. I don't know where they're born. So how is it they can talk about credibility and question people's rights when morally there are bankrupt set of people and they want Jamaicans to follow? Labor rights, let me say this to you. This election is not going to be one that we're going to take and run away. Because you still have Jamaicans who we have to convince. And you know it's sad?
Very sad.
The people outside,
Very sad.
have to convince. Now, let us reason. We came to power in 2016. And in Sam Sharp Square, we promised the country, if you elect us, the Prime Minister said, we're going to reduce crime. We're going to give Jamaicans the opportunity to sleep with their windows open. We wanted to remove the burglar bars. One of the other things that he says, if you vote for us, we're going to give you 1.5. So it means that if you're earning that, you're not going to pay no taxes for 1.5. And the man them take us to task. They say, where the money going to come from? It's not possible. We can't reduce crime. And they went to see. When Audley Shaw made the announcement in the budget presentation, they were now looking for the book, because there's a book that after the budget that they know well about the book. Because when they make the announcement, when the PNP make the announcement in their budget speech, and they tell you how that they're going to do, and if it come up to 500 million, they say we're giving you 500 million. When they don't know, they take the book, and you hear how much money gone for cigarette, how much money gone for motor vehicle license, how much money gone for this, how much money gone for that, and the money that they spoke about in the budget, they give to you, take it from you in taxation. When we made the announcement, they were looking for the book because they did the calculation. And they say, well, in order for the government to do that, the government is going to lose X amount of revenues. And they need to recoup the revenues. They never find the book. How can you replace a government that for 9 years have not imposed 1 cent of new taxation on the backs of the people of this country. How can you do that? In every single year of the PNP, every budget, new taxes has been imposed on the people of Jamaica. This government, your government, has gone as far. Not only that, there has been no new taxes. During COVID, when the world was battered by this new disease that nobody never had the answer for, scientists around the world gathered together trying to find a solution for COVID. Economies, our party leader and Prime Minister has been an outstanding and excellent Prime Minister, and we have been a good government. I am not saying that everything that we do is the way that a lot of people want. And there is no perfect government in the world. Even where there is a totalitarian government, which means that anything the government say you have to do, even in those countries they make mistakes. But nobody, with all honesty and with a true tongue, can get up and deny and question the competence, the ability of Andrew Holness and the performance of a Jamaica Labour Party government. But I want you tonight to understand me. They're not interested in coming to the country with facts. They have an orchestrated attempt to discredit, to malign, and destroy the name and the credibility of Dr. Andrew Holness. That's true. They threw everything at him. All the toilet bowl and the kitchen sink. Them threw at Dr. Holness. And he has been standing firm and tall in the face of adversity. Where people say all sorts of things about him. And the PNP lacks vision, they lack substance, they don't have no credibility. So what they're trying to do is to devalue. How can the PNP talk about corruption and credibility? When a certain one of them members get up in the Senate and lie in the House of Parliament about a contract with a contractor in Manchester, that the work stopped because the contractor can't get paid. Him said the contractor can't get paid because there's no money to pay the contractor. And everybody say, oh my God, what is happening? But I'm not sleeping. The contractor who declared that he was a member of the People's National Party, and is them driving out, he came and said, I lied them and tell no go so. Him said the work has been put on hold because we are awaiting certain materials that we have to bring in, and there is no money going on the contract. But yet the same man, with him straight face, never found it fit to go back into the chambers and apologize. Business as usual, and they move on. And they were in Old Harbor today talking about Dr. Wellness, talking about corruption. You know, I believe that persons who are dishonest, who lie to the country, should never consider themselves in office. Man like them who is when you box them in a corner, they will tell you, okay, I have 5 passports and I traveled on this and traveled on that. Up until today, they're running from the truth because they can't come and say to the country that is required of you. Let me tell you this. Anybody want to say that I am being whatever word they want to use, this Jamaica Labour Party will never allow, we will not make the PNP back us into a corner. We're going to push back at the PNP every time we come out. And we have been a good government, your party. Ask them to use the nice out there, man. Decisive elections in the history of Jamaica. And I don't want you Labourites to sit down and say, Trump, Andrew, I will do it, man. Sir James, I will do it. It don't work that way. You have a set of people who is crazy, hungry, desperate for power. And already you start to see signs of that desperation being played out. When you face signs, what are you saying? You're facing signs. What you need to come with is what you can do better for the constituency. What is the plans that you have to build Westmoreland? And it is in the genes of the non-performers. The people who had a chance and mash up Jamaica. It is in their genes to create mischief, intimidate people as a means of frightening you, so you don't come out and do what you have to do. So yes, you must leave that canvas outside.
Yes.
But it has happened where you give the workers the PD to canvas and then go home, throw it down upon the dresser. And when you call them and say, what happened? The canvas need to go. Them say, yes, yes, yes. I finished up the canvas. And them sit down around them table and say, Marley, GLP. Marley sister GLP. We don't know she, but she a PNP. She, and you do a canvas, and you turn it in, and you sit proudly by, when the information that you have provided is wrong. So when you do your balancing now to see who you must go and get out, you can't get them out because the canvas is incorrect. So it puts you at a disadvantage because there might be voters who want to vote, but they don't get no voter ID. Nobody don't go there, go talk to them. Nobody don't go for them. So they stay home because they say, well, it's you who want my vote. So if you don't have the interest to find me, why would I worry to go and look for you? In my constituency, West Kingston, I made a mistake during COVID to tell them everybody over 70 years old who is bedridden or have difficulty in walking, stay home. We can't win without the votes. COVID is rampant. How would tell me if it says so? The people would have killed me. How dare me tell them to stay home? Like them would ask me to tell them to stay home. They want to vote. But the point I'm making, I was able to do that because in my constituency, every PD, I can tell you how much elderly persons, those who are bedridden, those who will need wheelchair assistance to go out and vote. That is how you win your elections, because you know the people that you need to offer. In every constituency, there is at least 10% of those who are registered voters who have migrated, gone for 30, 40, 50 years, who have no intention to come back, but their names are still on the voters list because you can't remove them name. The only way you'll have to do that is if the country goes through a massive re-enumeration, and that is going to cost a whole lot of money. And those who have died, the electoral office have tried to get death certificates and persons with going. And you take those off the list when you can. But they can't capture all of that data. So if you have an effective organization, you don't have to be effective as West Kingston. But if you understand the importance of numbers, because sometimes 1 vote, 2 votes, 3 votes make a difference in elections. And if you don't know the numbers, labor rights, then you're wasting your time. Because in all of this, the strength of your organization in any constituency is built around the workers. That is where your strength of your organization is. Because without the workers, I wouldn't be here. Mr. Seattle wouldn't be the success that he was. Nobody in politics would have been able to be strong if you never had good workers like you who go. Almost every constituency experience migration. So people move from one constituency go live in another constituency. Then you have people who migrate. You have people who dead. You have people who you don't know. So therefore you need to be in a position, some constituencies with bogus voting. So between 1944, that was the first time Jamaica had elections under what was called universal adult suffrage. And what it meant that before 1944, it was those who owned properties, money people, they were the ones who could vote. So when we attained universal adult suffrage in 1944. That was 1 year after. 1 year before the Labour Party. Or the Labour Party was founded 1 year before. Became universal adult suffrage. At that time, Bustamante, and I'm in Westmoreland, and I was saying to my team in the vehicle, I don't know how Westmoreland became a PNP parish. Because when Sir Alexander Bustamante started, Bustamante never started out as a politician. Started out as a trade unionist. The Bustamante Industrial Trades Union. And Frome and Grangel in Westmoreland was the place that Sir Alexander Bustamante made his name, championing the cause of those who work on the cane plantation. And you must also remember that you are the first one of the first speakers of the House of Representatives came from Westmoreland. Sir Clifford Campbell. How many of you remember the name Swaby?
I remember.
Those are persons who up to 1972, the Jamaica Labour Party was the dominant party in Westmoreland. But something went wrong. And the people in Westmoreland lose their way. But the structure of the organization is what? Win elections. So your canvas that has been done gives you the opportunity not just to canvass the voters, but to also allow you, if you go around and people upset with your councillor MP, you make a note of it and you put it in. The purpose of meetings like these for the party is to go across the country to constituencies where there are difficulties with MPs and councillors and party people, so we can sort it out, so we can correct the wrongs that have been made. So that is why your canvas tells you how you look. And let me tell you something. Anybody in this room who wants to dismiss a canvas, do it at your own peril. And there are experiences I can tell you about canvassing that we could stay here until next year. But what I want to say to you is that on election day, you should never be in a position where you have a list of 50 names, and out of 50, you can only identify 10 persons. How that is going to help you? That has been enumerated. Now in and I'm going way back, and I want to listen to me. In 1964, Edward Seaga, for the first time, introduced into Labour Party's politics the word canvass. West Kingston was the first constituency. So don't make nobody else tell you that it was the other people who started. It was Edward Seaga in West Kingston. And when we asked him, what is a canvas? And he explained. So during those days, you never had voter ID. So all a man have to wait until the scrutiny come and ask for your name and you tell them your name. You never have to prove that you were 21 because you had to be 21 years old at that time to get enumerated. So those things never existed. And what Mr. Seaga did was to use the results of the 1962 elections to determine what his situation looks like in West Kingston. So what we do now, I used to live on Bond Street in West Kingston. My mother and my aunt used to work with Hugh Shearer when Mr. Shearer was the MP in West Kingston. So my mother used to work Bond Street because she lived on Bond Street. My aunt used to live on Matthews Lane in West Kingston, which is a strong PNP lane. But she was the person who had responsibility for Matthews Lane. So what Mr. Seaga did was anywhere you live, you got that PD to work. So we were able to identify JLP people. And we used to put them up, we used to put J first and then you put P. And if you don't know them, you put NV, no views. And that was how the canvas started in West Kingston. So by 1967 election, based on the information that was brought into the office, Mr. Seaga could tell you how much votes he was going to win by. And he was able to say PD 10 to PD 15 are the PDs that I need to concentrate on. And it is a system that was introduced into the Jamaica Labour Party. Because in those days, when there was no voter ID, when you have to be 21 to vote, you used to have one big yard, 3 houses in there, but it's all 100 people registered inside it to vote. Because you never have to prove that you live there. If they come see you, or they just see you on the road, and they enumerate you. And there are a lot of persons, including names that I won't call, that was voting before they were 21 years old. Because you never had to have any birth certificate, no ID. And because those things existed, the PNP developed a culture of what we call bogus voting. I came into the constituency from about 11 a.m. this morning. It's a wider part of the party's organization. I was in St. Mary yesterday with Dr. Dunn. I was in Manchester on Monday with Rhoda Crawford. I was with Dr. Weekly in St. Catherine with Prime Minister on Sunday. Saturday, I spent a little time in my own constituency. Friday and Thursday, I spent with Mrs. Holness in her constituency. And for the last couple of weeks, the Labour Party have been engaging workers across the country. We're not campaigning yet because we don't know when the elections will be. But one of the exercises that we are undertaking is that the party have set a job of work for labor rights. So you are the workers of the party. So you are the indoor agents, the supervisors, the runners. You are the engine of the machinery in the constituency. And I want to start my talk with you this evening by saying to you that elections are not won by virtue of the amount of green shirt you wear. No amount of bus that you jump up on and go to meetings, and how much you love the caretaker, MP caretaker, and your councillor. Regardless of how much love you speak about for Dr. Andrew Holness, our party leader and Prime Minister, that don't win elections. What win elections are votes. But how you get the votes? You have to have enumeration. So the first journey to success start with your enumeration exercise. The last voters list, which was the 31st of May, that voters list will be the voters list that will take you into the next general elections. So while persons can go and get enumerated, first-time voters and those who never believed that it was fashionable enough to get enumerated, they can still go and get enumerated, but they can consider themselves to be voters in the upcoming elections. So when you're doing your enumeration, that is one step, getting persons enumerated. And once you complete the process of enumeration, there might be persons that you don't know, or persons who went to say it is a privilege and honor to be here.